Hey guys, my name's Jen Carlquist and I'm a cardiology PA, and my patients frequently ask me, what can I eat for breakfast that also is healthy but tastes good? So I came up with a recipe for a very healthy but also delicious turkey sausage. Now the ingredients in the turkey sausage are actually, surprisingly, we're going to add a little bit of cinnamon. We're going to add a little bit of ground mustard. You can also use real mustard if you want. And we're going to use, for a little bit of kick, some cayenne pepper, and that will play off nicely off of our apple that we chop up. This is actually what provides the very low-fat turkey some extra moisture. We'll also have a little bit of red onion, so we'll slice that up. And then finally, we'll have a little bit of garlic salt because everything tastes better with garlic salt. And of course, regular salt and pepper. And our turkey. So you can use any formulation, but I like to use it's 99% turkey. We get this from Trader Joe's. It is really, really good quality and actually tastes really good. You can even make turkey tacos out of these, which I'll show you that in our next video. But in the meantime, you're also going to need a cutting board, knife, fork, and a bowl. So to get started here, what we'll do is I'm going to take my turkey and I'm just going to cut it open here, and I'm going to get it in a bowl. And then the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and season my turkey. So I like a lot of freshly ground pepper, and freshly ground is the best way to go. Using a little bit of salt. Now, of course, if my patient has heart failure, I'm recommending the no salt option. But since most of our patients that are eating this that are just heart disease patients, they can have a little salt to add some flavor. Then I'm going to take the ground mustard and add a little bit of that in. I don't really have a specific measuring spoon. I just kind of do equal parts of mustard and equal parts of cinnamon because this plays off really well off the apple. So I put the cinnamon in. And I put a little bit of red pepper. Not too much if you don't like a lot of spice. So then that's our seasoning. The next thing we have to do is we have to add the apple and the red onion and a little bit of sometimes bell pepper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my previously chopped up onion and red bell pepper that I use every morning for my freshly scrambled eggs with veggies, which is another great thing to add with this turkey. But I want this finer because the finer this is, the more flavor blends into the meat and you don't get big chunks. And it also, the onion and the red bell pepper add a little bit of moisture. So I'm going to take this and put it in my blender and blend it up. So one of my favorite kitchen tools is this really handy chopper. It's a little mini Ninja. I use this to make fresh homemade salsa, which I'll show you in another recipe. It goes on my yummy scrambled eggs for the morning. But basically I've got my red bell pepper in here and I've got my onion, and I'm just gonna go ahead and blend real quick. And that's it, so easy. Way easier than doing all that chopping. And now it's a fine mince. And the key is not to cut yourself with your sharp blade. Okay, so then you just take your nicely minced concoction here, scrape it all out, and then if you want you can use a spoon to mix it up, but to be honest, it's probably a little faster and easier if I just use my hands. So my hands are clean, and I'm basically just, you know, what you do with meatloaf, it's the same thing. You're just blending it all up. Sometimes, if I'm feeling like it, I'll add a little bit of egg white in here if I feel like I need some moisture, but otherwise, no need. And it's starting to smell really good. And the next thing I'm going to do after I make sure I get this fully mixed all the way through is I'm going to make them into little patties and put them on my plate. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure after I get this nicely blended that I'm also going to add some apple. Now, I like my apple a little bit more chunky. I like to taste the bits, so that's why I didn't put it in the blender. So you can just take a little bit of your apple and you can just chop it up however much apple you want. When I don't have slippery hands, I will normally chop this a lot faster, but that's okay. So we need this apple for the sweetness because we're gonna be interacting with the spiciness of the red cayenne pepper and our regular pepper. Okay, so that's probably about good. And when you bite into these and they caramelize, they taste so good. So we'll add these in now. And we're almost done to start making our little not meatballs, but little balls that we're gonna make into turkey sausage. All right. Make sure we get this all mixed. Okay. So now I'm gonna need a plate to put my little, I guess you could call them discs on. Okay. And I take them and I make them fairly small. So they don't have to be perfect, but I make them round. And this can take a little while to do, but not too long. Okay, so we have our pan starting to get hot, and I'm putting a little finishing touch. Now that you see I have all my little discs made, I'm just tapping a little more cinnamon for the outside, because when it browns up, it just looks a little prettier and more like sausage, and therefore it fools your eye. Now the other thing is, you might have noticed that I did add some red bell pepper, but you can add other things like spinach or jalapeno, whatever you want to make it to taste. But I made them kind of thin because the goal is we're gonna cook them and brown them. That's why I'm waiting for the pan to get hot. We're gonna brown them both sides and then let them steam a little bit and put them away, because in the morning when I wanna eat these, I'm going to actually brown them, and then I'm going to have freshly crisp, ready to go sausages in just a matter of minutes, as opposed to doing all the legwork in the morning when you're tired. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of olive oil, EVOO, in my pan, and I want it to get, spread around a little bit because I don't want my turkey sausage to stick. You can use coconut oil, and to be honest, I don't even use that. To be honest, I usually do coconut oil for the reheat. And the reason why is because it makes it a little crispier the morning of. So I will take these and cook these and then put them in a Tupperware, put them in the fridge, and in the morning when we're ready to go, we just put them in and basically brown them. Okay, so this should sizzle. That's what you want to hear. And I'm basically just putting them all in. Try to put the bigger ones towards the middle, of course, as with anything. And you have to make sure you only have enough for your pan. So now I can, in the meantime, we'll either fry and get my dishes out of the way. And of course also wash my hands. So what I want to do when they're cooking like this is I want to flatten them a little bit more. So I'm giving them a little bit more flattening, more exposure to the heat. I have this on a medium to high right now because my goal is just to get these as beautiful and crispy as possible so that they taste crispy and crunchy in the morning. All right, these are thin enough, I think. And I just gotta let them cook, do their thing. You can see they're just doing their thing. I probably have a little more oil in there than I normally would, but that's okay. My goal is for them not to stick. So we let them sizzle and do their thing. And then in about probably 3 minutes of cooking, I will usually turn them over. And then, believe it or not, I put a lid on and I turn the stove off and I go do something else, because they continue cooking, continue browning, but they also cook from the steam that's being trapped by the lid. So as you can see, I think we've spent maybe so far, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes between prep. right? It's super easy, and you can do it on a weekend to kind of pre-prep. So you can see now they're starting to get a little bit brown. I don't want them to be too brown today because it's tomorrow that I'm going to be doing the actual browning. This is more like just the cooking part. Make sure they're done on the inside. And these guys, they just do not take long, but they smell so good. They smell cinnamony and sweet from the apple. And that onion is kind of starting to come out, that onion smell. And I'm just turning them all over. And they already have a little bit of brown, which is pretty. But the next round of brown is when it really looks gorgeous. Okay, so they're all ready to be turned off, and I'm gonna go get my lid and I'll show you what this looks like. Here we go. Here is what they look like when they are cooked. And I'm just gonna take this lid, put it right over, and voila. I'm gonna let them go for about 5 minutes to completely cook, and then let them cool, put them away, and we'll be ready for tomorrow. I serve these with scrambled eggs mixed with spinach and onion and mushroom and red bell pepper. And this is so healthy and filling and very low carb and low cal. So great for your diabetic patients and great for your heart patients. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.